4:12 a.m. The room is silent. No campaign signs, no television debates, no approval ratings flashing across screens. Just a secure line blinking red in the darkness. You answer. A regional commander reports increased movement near a sensitive border zone. Oil markets are reacting to rumors. Foreign intelligence agencies are monitoring satellite shifts. You don't check social media. You don't check polling numbers. You check stability. Because you are not an elected politician navigating public opinion. You are the supreme leader of Iran, and your authority does not expire. Before we go further, if you enjoy stepping inside the world's most powerful positions, from presidents to monarchs to strategic commanders, subscribe. We break down how global systems actually work, without noise, without hype. Now let's step deeper inside permanent authority. Chapter 1. A role above the president. Most Americans understand power through the presidency. Campaigns, 4-year terms, checks and balances. Iran operates differently. There is a president, elected by the people. There is a parliament. There are courts. But above all of them is a position created after the 1979 revolution, the supreme leader. Currently held by Ali Khamenei, this role combines political authority and religious legitimacy. You do not manage day-to-day municipal issues. You define strategic direction. You appoint the head of the judiciary, commanders of the armed forces, leadership of state media, key members of oversight institutions. The president manages administration. You define boundaries. That distinction shapes the entire nation. The role is rooted in a doctrine often translated as guardianship of the Islamic jurist. In simple terms, the highest religious authority provides oversight over political authority. This means the system blends spiritual legitimacy with state power. In Western systems, church and state are separate. Here, they intersect at the highest level. This intersection changes how decisions are framed. They are not only strategic, they are ideological. They are long-term. They aim to preserve continuity. Your first briefing is military. The armed forces report readiness levels, strategic capabilities, border stability, defense posture. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard reports separately, a powerful branch with both military and economic influence. Appointments to their leadership come from you. The second briefing is intelligence, foreign diplomatic movements, internal stability assessments, cyber monitoring. The third is economic, sanctions impact analysis, currency stability, oil export routes, inflation management. In Washington, debates happen publicly. In your office, analysis happens quietly.
Chapter 4. Power and Restraint. Power is not simply about control. It is about calibration. Move too aggressively internationally, pressure increases. Move too slowly, influence fades. Inside the country, reformist voices push for change, conservative factions push for continuity. You balance both without appearing unstable. That is the art of structural authority. Chapter 5. The Presidential Dynamic. Iran is president. Campaigns are real. Public speeches are real. Economic policies are debated. But candidates go through vetting processes before appearing on the ballot. This ensures alignment with the broader system. When the president enters office, he operates within a framework. Economic management? Yes. Domestic policy? Yes. Military strategy and long-term ideological direction? That remains under your influence. This layered authority system is intentional. It prevents sudden shifts. It favors continuity over volatility.
Global pressure. Outside your borders, major powers analyze every move. The United States watches nuclear developments. European nations monitor sanction compliance. Regional powers assess military posture. Oil markets react to rumors. You are constantly aware that a speech in Tehran can echo in Washington, London, or Tel Aviv. Global perception becomes a factor, but not the only factor. Domestic stability always comes first. Isolation at the top. As authority increases, personal space decreases. Security surrounds you constantly. Movement is restricted. Public appearances are strategic. Every word is recorded, every gesture interpreted. Power brings influence, but it also brings isolation. Few people speak to you casually. Few people disagree openly. That changes psychology. Long-term authority shapes perspective differently than short-term politics. You think in decades, not headlines. Perfect. Now we go deeper. This is where retention increases, because now we simulate pressure. In many countries, military authority is shared. In your system, it concentrates upward. You are commander-in-chief, not ceremonially, operationally. The army answers to you. Strategic missile forces answer to you. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps answers to you. Promotions at the highest level require your approval. Defense doctrine reflects your long-term philosophy. You are not reviewing battlefield maps daily, but you define the red lines, and red lines determine stability. One of the most powerful institutions in Iran is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is more than a military branch. It has economic influence, regional influence, political influence. Its commanders operate in strategic theaters beyond borders. Their loyalty is not just to the state, it is to the system, and you sit at the top of that system. Balancing the Guard's influence requires strategic awareness. Too much autonomy creates imbalance. Too much restriction creates friction. So you calibrate, quietly. In many countries, military authority is shared. In your system, it concentrates upward. You are commander-in-chief, not ceremonially, operationally. The army answers to you. Strategic missile forces answer to you. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps answers to you. Promotions at the highest level require your approval. Defense doctrine reflects your long-term philosophy. You are not reviewing battlefield maps daily, but you define the red lines. And red lines determine stability. One of the most powerful institutions in Iran is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is more than a military branch. It has economic influence, regional influence, political influence. Its commanders operate in strategic theaters beyond borders. Their loyalty is not just to the state, it is to the system. And you sit at the top of that system. Balancing the Guard's influence requires strategic awareness. The nuclear question. No topic attracts more global attention. Negotiations, inspections, Sanctions, international agreements. Every headline creates pressure. Every diplomatic meeting carries weight. You must calculate. How much leverage strengthens your position? How much compromise preserves stability? Push too far, global pressure intensifies. Concede too much, domestic authority weakens. You are not negotiating for applause. You are negotiating for continuity. Sanctions affect currency. Sanctions affect imports. Sanctions affect inflation. Citizens feel economic pressure, and when citizens feel pressure, political tension rises. So, your strategy shifts towards resilience. Diversifying trade partners, strengthening regional alliances, increasing domestic production. Economic survival becomes strategic defense. You are not only managing military risk, you are managing economic endurance. Internal protests. Every nation faces internal dissatisfaction at times. Economic strain, social change, political disagreement. When protests emerge, your response must be calculated. Too much force can escalate unrest. Too little response can encourage instability. You rely on layered institutions, security services, judiciary mechanisms, political intermediaries. You weigh optics against authority, public image against structural control. Every decision carries long-term consequences. Chapter 13. The Global Chessboard. Zoom out. The Middle East is one of the most strategically complex regions in the world. Energy routes, religious history, political rivalries, external powers involved. Your influence extends beyond borders through alliances and partnerships, but influence must be measured. Overextension creates vulnerability. Underengagement reduces leverage. So you think like a chess player, not about the next move, but about 5 moves ahead. Chapter 14. The United States Factor. Relations with the United States shape global perception. Diplomatic tension fluctuates. Sanctions tighten or loosen. Indirect negotiations occur through intermediaries. Each administration in Washington brings different tactics, but your role remains constant. You must adapt to shifting global leadership without appearing reactive. Stability at home requires composure abroad. Your strategy is not emotional. It is patient. State media plays a role in shaping national messaging. Narrative influences perception. Perception influences stability. International media tells one story. Domestic media tells another. You understand that information is power, but information must be managed carefully. Over-control creates skepticism. Under-control creates fragmentation. Balance is everything. Imagine this: a sudden regional escalation. Missile strikes reported. Global markets react instantly. Oil prices spike. Foreign governments issue statements. Your secure line lights up again. Generals request clarity. Advisors present options. Option A, immediate retaliation. Option B, strategic restraint. Option C, indirect action. Each option carries consequences. Escalation risks war. Restraint risks perception of weakness. Indirect action risks miscalculation. You must decide, not in months, in minutes. This is the weight of authority without term limits. Decision-making under permanence. Elected leaders sometimes think about re-election cycles.
You think about structural endurance. How will this decision affect the system in 10 years? How will it influence succession? How will it shape institutional loyalty? Permanent authority creates long-term thinking, but it also increases pressure, because mistakes cannot be blamed on previous administrations. You are continuity. Chapter 18. The Cost of Miscalculation. At this level, small errors magnify. Economic misjudgment leads to inflation spikes. Military misjudgment leads to international crisis. Political misjudgment leads to internal fragmentation. So your leadership style emphasizes caution, deliberation, consultation, strategic patience. Power without patience becomes instability. Chapter 19. Isolation deepens. As years pass, authority consolidates. Advisors change. Generations shift. But you remain. That permanence creates psychological distance. You are not just leading a government. You are embodying a system. Few can relate to that responsibility. Few can question it directly. Isolation becomes part of leadership. Power that doesn't expire. Most leaders operate on a clock. 4 years, 5 years, term limits, approval ratings. Your authority operates differently. It does not reset. It does not campaign. It does not expire. That permanence changes the psychology of decision-making. You are not thinking about the next election cycle. You are thinking about institutional survival. You ask, will this strengthen the structure? Will this preserve legitimacy? Will this create instability 10 years from now? Your time horizon stretches beyond headlines. That creates strategic patience, but it also creates emotional distance. Legitimacy versus power. Power alone is not enough. It must be justified within the system. Your authority is rooted in both political structure and religious legitimacy. That combination creates a unique expectation. You are not only expected to govern, you are expected to embody continuity. Your decisions are not framed purely as policy. They are framed as protection of the system's core principles. That adds weight, because when you act, you are not just making a political calculation. You are reinforcing identity. Chapter 22. The Inner Circle. At this level, trust becomes rare currency. Your inner circle is small. Advisors bring analysis. Military leaders bring assessments. Clerical authorities bring perspective. But ultimate responsibility remains yours. Information flows upward, filtered, structured, sometimes incomplete. One of the risks of permanent authority is insulation. You must actively prevent echo chambers, encourage honest reporting, allow controlled disagreement, because without friction, systems weaken. Generational shift. Time changes societies. Younger generations think differently than older ones. Technology accelerates communication. Global exposure increases awareness.
You must maintain continuity while navigating generational evolution. Too rigid and pressure builds. Too flexible and foundational authority weakens. The art of permanent leadership lies in controlled adaptation, adjusting without appearing unstable, modernizing without abandoning core structure. Chapter 24: Religion and State. In this system, religious authority intersects with governance. This creates both stability and complexity. Religious institutions expect preservation of values. Political institutions expect effective governance. When both align, stability strengthens. When tensions arise, mediation is required. Your role becomes bridge and guardian simultaneously. This dual responsibility separates this position from most global leadership roles. Chapter 25: The Burden of Symbolism. At some point, you stop being just an individual. You become symbolic. Your speeches carry weight beyond their words. Your silence carries meaning. Your presence signals stability. Your absence raises questions. Symbolic authority requires careful management. Every public appearance is intentional, every message calibrated. The higher the symbolism, the lower the margin for error.
The human side. Behind institutions, there is still a person. Limited freedom of movement, heavy security presence, constant awareness of threat, little anonymity. Personal time becomes rare. Decisions follow you home. Pressure does not switch off. Power looks like dominance from the outside. From the inside, it feels like responsibility. Chapter 27: Crisis of Confidence. Every long-term leader faces moments of doubt, economic strain, external pressure, internal disagreement. In those moments, authority must project stability, even if uncertainty exists privately, because hesitation at the top cascades downward. Institutions rely on visible confidence, even when choices are difficult. Chapter 28: Elite Politics. Within any system, elites compete for influence. Political figures, military leaders, economic stakeholders, religious authorities. Your role includes balancing these forces without allowing fragmentation. Favor one too strongly, and resentment builds. Favor none, and coordination weakens. So you distribute influence carefully, maintaining hierarchy while preventing rivalry from destabilizing structure. Chapter 30: International Image. Outside observers often simplify complex systems, but leadership requires managing both internal reality and external narrative. International image affects sanctions policy, diplomatic negotiation, economic relationships. You cannot fully control how foreign media portrays decisions, but you can influence long-term positioning through consistency. Consistency becomes strength.
The quiet moments. Not every day is crisis. Some days are administrative, ceremonial meetings, institutional reviews, strategic planning sessions. But even in calm moments, the awareness remains. Every decision becomes part of history. Permanent authority accumulates legacy, and legacy becomes the final measure. The day the markets panic. It starts quietly. A currency drop overnight. Oil exports disrupted by regional tension. International headlines speculate about escalation. Within hours, your economic advisors report. The real is weakening. Import costs are rising. Public concern is growing. Markets react faster than governments. Social media amplifies fear. You now face a triple-layer challenge: economic stability, public confidence, international positioning. Your first decision is not dramatic. It is controlled. Stabilize currency through central mechanisms. Issue measured public messaging. Signal confidence without escalation. Because panic spreads faster than facts.
Military alert. While economic teams respond, a second alert arrives. A regional proxy clash intensifies. Foreign governments issue warnings. Satellite intelligence suggests force movement near strategic waters. You gather senior commanders. 3 scenarios are presented: defensive readiness only, controlled show of force, escalatory posture. Each option carries risk. Option 1 preserves calm but may appear weak. Option 2 deters but increases tension. Option 3 signals strength but risks global reaction. You choose deterrence without escalation. Increase readiness quietly. Avoid public theatrics. Strength often lies in silence. Chapter 34. Internal pressure builds. As currency instability continues, protests emerge in select cities. Economic frustration fuels demonstration. Security services report crowd size increasing. You now balance 2 competing risks. Heavy response creates international backlash. Light response encourages expansion. Your instruction: maintain order, avoid overreaction, prevent spread. Crisis management is not about dominance. It is about containment. Chapter 34. The International Call. A foreign intermediary reaches out. Back-channel diplomacy opens. There is an offer: partial sanctions relief in exchange for strategic concessions. Your advisors split. Some argue relief would ease internal pressure. Others warn concessions weaken long-term leverage. You ask a different question: will this strengthen structural stability? Because short-term economic gain means little if it weakens long-term authority. You delay, not reject, not accept. Delay increases leverage.